Hello, Hannah the Suburban Witch here, and today we're talking about calling a timeout in your spiritual practice. In today's video, I'll be going over when it's necessary to call a timeout, why we find it so hard and so difficult to do, and how to actually go about doing it and then returning to your practice. I'll also be including at the end a little bit of a personal story time, as I've recently had to take a timeout from my practice as well. So I'm speaking from experience for you all. Now, if you're new to my channel today, I'm Hannah the Suburban Witch. I'm an intuitive tarot reader and astrologer, as well as a witch, and I love to share my practice and my witchy tips and help you all on your path to your practice as well. I release a video every Wednesday, so you can be sure to find tons of tips, content on tarot, astrology, crystals, dreams, psychic stuff, all sorts of things. So make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Let's start with our first point, and that is, when is it necessary to take a spiritual time out? The 4 times it's necessary are illness, life, doubts, and safety. So illness comes under mental health, physical illness, fatigue. These sorts of things are times when you need to just take a break, take a time out, and focus on yourself and your body and your physical and mental health healing, rather than trying to do everything with your spiritual practice and draining even more of your precious energy that way. So that is absolutely a perfect time. Life. Now, life brings us many things that we don't expect. I have recently moved interstate. That was a big move. We were not in our house for a month, so that's a perfect time to take a time out. Things like pregnancy, that's another reason. Work commitments, getting married. There are tons of times when life just gets a bit too much and it's a bit too chaotic to try and cram everything in. You don't have to cram it all in. You can call a time out. That is totally fine. Now, doubts is another one. And that can be you're just not feeling it, or you're starting to doubt your practice and whether or not it's really working for you, or if it's what you need. So this is a good time to call a time out and really just refresh your mind, get back to yourself, and then come back to it if you feel called to. The last one is safety, and this includes traveling to countries where practicing your witchcraft or your practice is not safe, and it also includes being at a parent's house or living in a home or a place where it's not safe to do so. So that could be religious family members, that sort of thing. So those are some reasons why it's perfectly okay to take a spiritual time out. Now we go on to why we find it so darn difficult to do. And the biggest reason here is guilt. And a lot of us bring with us this guilt from our religious upbringings, or even just religious, influence in the world, that, you go to church every Sunday and that's it, and it's only dire consequences that you don't go. And if you don't go, you make sure to tune in on the television or on a podcast or something, or worship in your own way. You don't take time out. And that's what I grew up with, so I had a lot of trouble with those sorts of feelings of guilt. I find guilt to be anxiety's cousin, right? What guilt is supposed to do is inform us when we've done something morally wrong. Now, what does it do these days? Totally different game. What it does is it tells us, oh, did I do something wrong? I didn't do the thing I wanted to do, or what they thought I wanted to do, or what they thought I should do, so I feel guilty. You may or may not have done anything morally wrong, yet we still get these feelings of guilt, and they feel horrible, right? And they sit here heavy on our heart chakra. So what we need to do is we need to assess, okay? So if you're thinking, okay, I might need to just step back a little bit, take a little bit of a break, and then those feelings of guilt come up, you need to assess whether or not you've done something morally wrong. Have you done something wrong? I forgot to burn my incense, or I didn't have time to refresh my altar today. Is that morally wrong? No, it's not. That is totally fine. That's called life. Happens to all of us, okay? Now, if you worship deities, and I personally don't, so I'm speaking from assumption in this area. If you worship a deity, my view is they're probably there all the time, but you don't have to be. You're a human, you've got other stuff in your life. We have to do human things like go to the bathroom and shower and work and make sure we have food and shelter and money and those sorts of things. Now, if you are working with something like a saint, which is something that I do personally, I know that I'm calling on their energy. I'm also not expecting them to be there at the drop of the hat for me, and I presume they don't expect that of me either. Same with our spiritual team, our spiritual guides or mentors on the other side. They have other tasks to do aside from being with us 24/7, okay? So we are not expected to be on 24/7 either. Another aspect of this whole guilt thing is the patriarchy that we've been brought up into that expects us to be on all the time and be productive all the time in all aspects of our life. And this is not a good way to be. We need downtime, we need rest time in all areas of our life, not just our work and career. Also with, friends, we need downtime from our friends, we need time by ourselves to reconnect to who we are, and we need downtime from our spiritual practice sometimes too. Now we talk about how to do it. All right, is it as easy as just stopping, or is that going to be too difficult for you? And this is a really personal point for you. So do you pull back on everything, or just the things that are taking up your most time and energy? And I think this also depends on your reason for taking a spiritual time out. I'm going to take this moment here to just explain my recent reasons and my recent time out and how I went about that. And that should give you a couple of examples as well. So personally, if you didn't know already, I am pregnant, and the first 3 months were pretty horrendous. I had some very, very serious morning sickness. I was on medication for it. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I had insomnia and was getting up at 2 a.m. to throw up the nothing that was in my stomach. So it was really, really hard on me physically and mentally as well as taking care of my daughter. Throw into that mix the fact that we were moving interstate, so I knew that my business had to go on hold for a month, so I was busy trying to prep everything before that and prepare for that shutdown. Our house got delayed by 2 and a bit weeks, so we were homeless for a month living with my in-laws, so all of our stuff was in boxes. I didn't have access to all my things. I felt terrible. I was tired, exhausted, and racing around to try and see my friends and family whilst we were at the in-laws before moving out into the country where we are now. So much going on. So what did I do? I took a time out. My altar had been packed away, so I didn't have that. Okay. I took a couple of key crystals that I really love to work with, and I brought them with me on the plane and to my in-laws' house. And they are just ones that I like to sleep with under my pillow or use if I was to do any tarot reading at all. So things like my rainbow moonstone, I bring that for my intuition. It also doubles as really good with fertility and childbirth and pregnancy and that sort of thing. So I knew that was going to help me physically and with my intuition, with my work as well, if I had to do any readings, which I did do a couple whilst I was off because I found the time, which was great. In-laws are fantastic. So I took a little break from pretty much everything. I wasn't reading any books. I wasn't doing any of my moon rituals, even though I promote them on my Patreon page, which you can get access to. Sometimes I can't do them. Sometimes, I was in bed and absolutely exhausted and I did not have the mental or physical capacity. That's okay. And I did feel a little guilty, but reminded myself that I need to take time for me and my baby, and I need to make sure that I'm physically well enough before exerting more energy trying to manifest something or create a spell jar or working or something that's just going to drain me even more. Now, does this make me any less of a witch? Absolutely not. I'm still me. I still worked on my affirmations. So affirmations, a couple of crystals, I had a tarot deck with me. So there was a couple of things I still kept there, but I wasn't keeping to any schedule. I wasn't topping up offerings. I wasn't working with any saints or anything like that. And I wasn't, doing any herbs or spell jars or all those sorts of things. It just was not something I was including at the time. I needed that break. Now we've moved into the new house. I can reset up my altar, get all my things back in order and start working diligently on my practice and getting back in touch with everything. And that feels amazing. And I actually feel really refreshed. I'm feeling physically a lot better. I can actually eat and that's amazing. So, I've come back to it, and it's all about listening to you and your intuition and your body and your mental health and that sort of thing. Now, I was staying with my in-laws and they're pretty open. They were happy with me having weird, witchy things everywhere. They wanted tarot readings and astrology checkups as well. So they were totally fine. But if I had been staying with my grandparents, for example, which I did earlier this year when we went to visit, I didn't take anything spiritual. No tarot cards, no crystals, nothing, because my grandmother is so super religious, and when I'm with them, I'm still in the broom closet. So sometimes that might be the case. You visit someone or you go and stay somewhere and you need to take a break purely to protect either them or yourself. And that's okay too. So I really hope this video has helped you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any content ideas, I'm going to be batch creating a lot of YouTube videos coming up because I'm preparing for when I take some time off with this little one over Christmas. So feel free to jot down, give me a comment on something you'd like to hear more about, because I'm going to need all the ideas to try and get it all done as soon as possible for you and schedule them out for the rest of the year. If you want to find me elsewhere, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Patreon and Facebook. So you can find me on all those places, and I look forward to connecting with you there. Bye for now.